Right, this is a quick walk around video. This is for a Honda CR-V 2-litre EX automatic petrol car. 63 plate vehicle with just 40,900 miles recorded. Car's painted in white, as you can see here, which contrasts really nicely with the black parts of the car, including the panoramic roof. And this one's also fitted with roof bars on it, which really kind of adds to the stance of the car. But I'll go around the vehicle for you. Starting at the front end of the vehicle, all the lights, lenses completely intact, no cracks, condensation or otherwise on any of that. Bottom of the car, really clean, hardly a mark to be seen anywhere, hardly a stone chip of any note on there at all. It really is fabulously clean, this car. A car that my wife's driving actually, which is well, it's clean at the moment and probably won't be in about a day's time. There we are. Come down the near side of the vehicle, just crouch down there. It's pretty much mirror smooth down the side, absolutely as clean as a whistle. Front wing completely unmarked, bumper corner completely unmarked. Alloy wheel is in beautiful condition as well. Panel work is crisp and clean all the way down this flank. I can't really remember seeing a mark on there. I'm sure there must be somewhere, don't get me wrong, but you'd have to look pretty hard. Rear alloy again in beautiful condition, and then bumper corner, no marks, scuffs or otherwise. And just go down this side again just to show just how clean and crisp that panel work actually is. It really is very clean indeed. Come around the back of the car itself, all in really lovely order. And then come around to the off side of the vehicle. It's a bit bright and shiny on this side with the sun out, but who am I to complain? But the pearlescent in the paint looks fantastic in the sun, in all honesty. Rear alloy, so I just try to get my shadow out of the way. Again, completely unmarked on there. And again, panel work down the side is absolutely as clean as a whistle. And then final alloy on the front here. Again, hardly a mark of any note on there at all. But really is a fabulous looking car. So white is very much in vogue at the moment, and you can see why when they look like this. Coming into the back, you can see there it's being fitted with a load liner to protect the carpets underneath, but you know, it's like a cavernous pitch with the usual 60/40 split on there. And up high here, you can see that we've got a electric tailgate, and that's all working exactly as it should. Coming to the back of the car now, door card on this offside, absolutely super. And then in the back of the car, all in really lovely condition. Huge amounts of leg room in these CR-Vs, which is why they are supremely popular, or hugely popular rather, with families for family use. It really is in fantastic order. Coming to the front, driver's door card again, all really nice. Around the driver's seat area and sill, so I've come into the shade to, there's a bit of seats, all absolutely beautiful. Just pull that across so you can just see the bolster, not hiding anything. The seats look pretty much like new in all honesty, there's hardly any wear on them at all. And the front passenger seat there again in really fine order. Looking up above, obviously got this lovely big panoramic roof. Flick of a switch, that obviously closes over, sort of claps shut. And likewise opens up again should you so wish. Bear with me, that will increase on a daily basis, but although we're only doing sort of maybe 20 miles a day at most, so it shouldn't go up very much at all. But the car genuinely is absolutely fabulous, in lovely condition. And what will follow this quick walk around video will be a road test of this very car. Right, this is a quick road test. This is for a Honda CR-V 2-litre EX automatic, registered YG63MPE. Mileage at the start of this brief road test is 40,980 miles. The reason we do the videos, as I say in all of them, is basically people are now willing to travel much further to go and see cars, such as the power of the internet. But that has its pitfalls, because obviously if there's a problem with a car when you go and see it that the seller hasn't told you about, it can be hugely frustrating, as we know to our costs. So what we do on the videos here is to run through the mechanicals of the car. We're absolutely honest about it. If there's a fault on the vehicle or there's an issue with the car that you need to know about, we do tell you, and that can be shown in many of my previous videos. Generally there isn't anything, you know, the cars are good, but if there is something and you need to know about it, you are told. The road tests are also done on the roads just outside our premises, so it should be representative of what any potential test drive should throw up if you come and drive the car, if you're interested in buying it. So just a very brief background to this car. This car's actually been used by my wife. We always have a CR-V, or pretty much always. It's the car of choice for us. Absolutely wonderful vehicles. So we know it intimately. But starting with the mechanicals of the vehicle, engine of course to start with. 2-litre VTEC engine, cam chain driven, no cam belts to worry about, so you haven't got a big £500 bill waiting to hit you. Engine starts instantaneously. You've got keyless start in it, just push button start on these cars. Settles to it, virtually silent, very smooth idle, can't hear or feel a thing. Engine itself performs exactly as the manufacturer intended. It's lovely engines. They've got a real sort of zip to them, and rare for this kind of thing, they've actually got quite a nice soundtrack as well, which is fairly typical of Honda. But a great engine. I'll just rev it harder than I would do ordinarily, but really sweet revving. Pulls very evenly throughout the rev range. No warning lights on the dashboard at all. Temperature gauge running at 1/3, which is exactly where you want it to be on one of these Hondas. So engine absolutely perfect, given the fact that it's been serviced exclusively at Honda up to this point. That, you know, obviously clearly comes as no great surprise. Engine then goes through into automatic gearbox, very well matched to the engine. Nicely spaced ratios, very smooth shifting, and quite quick shifting for an ordinary, you know, torque converter style gearbox. 5 speeds, and as I said, matches the engine beautifully. There's no wear at all in the gearbox in terms of kind of when you're driving the car. What's really nice on these later CR-Vs, you've got these steering wheel mounted paddles, so sometimes when you go to overtake, you've got to put your foot down, wait for the kick down, go past, only to find out that halfway through the overtaking manoeuvre the car decides it wants to change up a gear. This one, you don't have to pre-select any gears on there. Just if I want to change down now, if I imagine there was a car in front that wanted to overtake, tap it on to 4th, 3rd, put my foot down, get past it, change up to 4th, change up to 5th, and it's as simple as that. You know, it's a really nice system and works very effectively, and takes quite a bit of sort of stress and strain away from driving. But in terms of powertrain of the engine and gearbox, absolutely spot on. Car tracks absolutely bullet straight, no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel at all, so all the wheels are nicely in balance. What's also nice is the steering exhibits absolutely no wear at all. It's, you know, utterly precise, actually quite quick in its responses for a kind of I hate the expression SUV, but that's what they are, I guess. You know, it's very car-like to drive, and certainly compared to the previous generation, there's less body roll, there's less pitch in the corners. They've done a very nice job of it, but the point of this video is to detect any wear. Nothing at all. Likewise, suspension of the vehicle, you'll hear it, I'll do it deliberately, go over a couple of bumps, you hear it going over the bumps, but what you're not getting is any of those sort of secondary noises that you sometimes get a bit on, sometimes get on used cars, where you might have a sort of anti-roll bar link or a bush underneath, or suspension strut with a bit of movement, and it just makes a car feel a bit kind of clattery and old before its time. But this is very smooth, very tight, and I can't differentiate between this and a new one in terms of how it's physically driving. But lovely cars. You know what's really lovely about them, of course, is the fact that you've got you know, it is so car-like. You know, it doesn't feel big, clumsy, cumbersome. It's only if you're going to hurtle around corners, then yeah, obviously. But they've got the compromise pretty well sorted. You know, very comfortable riding. So long distances are, you know, taken in their stride. Also noticeably quieter than last generation by a, you know, it's discernible. I'm sure it's measured in decibels. I don't know what that would actually be, but it certainly seems a fair bit quieter. More on that point, it's worth pointing out that, you know, because it is a quiet car, were there to be kind of, you know, someone had a windscreen replaced or someone had accidentally damaged the seal on one of the doors, it would kind of ruin the calm in here. But all of that's in very, very, very good order. It's very quiet. Brakes on the car, really fabulous. Rock solid brake pedal, nicely modulated. It's not over assisted. I hate that in cars, which makes them quite jerky to drive. These are very reassuring. There's no pulsing, no grinding. When you hit the brakes, it pulls up straight and true, doesn't sort of pull hard right, left or otherwise. But it really does have a, you know, it pulls up on this horse just really very, very well indeed. Looking around inside the car, all in fabulous condition. You know, they are quite beautifully built cars. They really are. You know, I'm sure get shot down in flames by lots of people who own other manufacturers' cars. But the reality is, the real test of a car isn't when Autocar or Auto Express or What Car or whoever else get hold of a vehicle and drive a, you know, pristine brand new car around test tracks and on the open road. The real test of a car is, you know, 5 or 6 years down the line, 50, 60,000 miles on the clock or even more. And that's where Hondas are so good, and why they're so sought after as well. People have had, some of the competitors who have had, you know, all the kind of the issues that go with those, and particularly anything with the kind of a DSG gearbox is a frightening proposition to say the least. You know, these are, you know, true build quality isn't a heavy sounding door in a showroom. True build quality is how it feels, how it looks, you know, with normal use, not been mollycoddled in any way. And here we've got a car that exhibits no noises internally, no squeaks, no rattles, nothing. All the switches work absolutely exactly as they should. The surfaces of the switches, got the paint on them, they're not worn off, and that's a little nod towards, you know, the Volkswagen group. For some reason, their sort of switches seem to sort of rub the plastics off ever so easily. But it feels like rock in here. It just feels like it's, you know, carved out the solid stuff. It's a, you know, very, very nice place to sit. Also, what I like about it, it is actually very simple. It's nicely styled, nicely done. They've obviously clearly nicked elements of BMW styling with kind of the texturing here, the silver trim there, and, you know, but it's not a bad thing to pinch off BMW as long as they don't pinch the other bits. What they have kept though is a nice simple operating system in the car. So you've got a really nice simple sat-nav system there, you know, it's all sort of touch screen. Obviously pop the car into reverse and then that goes into a lovely parking camera, which all works perfectly. Up high in the dashboard, which is right in the line of sight, we've got information display for trip and, you know, that kind of information, how much fuel you've got left. And then you've got this dual zone climate control system, so you can have it temperature side to side, all working absolutely perfectly. But what the videos can't get over is just every button has a beautifully damped quality to it, which screams quality of manufacture. They really are beautifully built. Further down the dashboard, loads of cubby holes, huge amounts of space, you know, heated seats with 2 settings, all working perfectly. Driver seat is electric memory seat, and you've got a couple of memory settings in that one as well, and they, again, all works exactly as it should. Main dashboard, actually probably the only bit, if I'm going to be hypercritical of the car, where I actually probably preferred the previous generation. There's nothing wrong with it, all works beautifully, but to my eyes it's just a little bit fussy. It doesn't need to be. I preferred the old one with the 2 big symmetrical dials, but there again, I'm an old dinosaur, so you know, change doesn't come easily to me. Main steering wheel, sorry, auto lights and auto wipers on the car, clearly VTEC spec. Then main steering wheel's got all the controls you need, information display top left, bottom left for your hands-free functions for compatible phones, Then top right, we've got cruise control, which I will set and check, and that's working exactly as it should. And then down below, we've got the information control switches for the main information display in the middle of the dashboard here. But the car genuinely drives absolutely beautifully. Obviously runs intelligent four-wheel drive, and unlike its competitors, that basically means for 99.99% of its time, which is driving like this, it'll run in two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, the most efficient way to drive a car. So it's not gobbling up tyres, drive shafts, prop shafts, all that kind of stuff unnecessarily, and then obviously using more fuel on the back of it. Only when it needs to go to four-wheel drive will it do so. You know, if you spin your wheels up on a greasy surface, it's a bit like someone shoving you in the back. It just grips and goes. And the beauty of it is, you know, we've never, ever had a problem with a Honda four-wheel drive system. You know, they are pretty much bulletproof. So, so yeah, I mean, but it is, you know, it's its simplicity that makes it reliable. But you know, it's also highly effective. My business partner always, if he's off skiing, he's more into that than me, always takes a CRV. If he hasn't got one, he borrows mine, because you know, he just knows in deep snow he'll get out. But yeah, no, great car. If I've missed anything on the video, clearly don't hesitate, please do give me a call. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. But you know, based on this test drive and what we know of the vehicle, the car drives exactly as it should. It's a wonderful, wonderful car.